Hello everyone. Getting started, I guess. Can someone let me know if the sound is working okay? If there's anyone there. AJC, sound working? It's soft. Okay. How's that? That better? I'd say that's better. It might be a bit loud. Cool. Thanks, Tipsy. Well, let's see about the blends. I did some prep earlier. I'm going to switch over to the proper camera now. You guys aren't here to look at my face. Just get all settled, get in place. Sorry for any extra banging and noises. All right, so we had the vote on my story on Instagram. Not anymore. I've done what I can to resolve that problem. Yeah, so I was playing around earlier just to see how I went with this. And so I wanted to see, I don't know, which color I would use, which paint to do the demonstration. And I'm still not sure. So I tried where's the other one? So to start with, I'm going to do just like a, hi Tazu. Thanks, Seamus. So it could be any of these three. They're pretty close together. Does anyone have an opinion on which one to go with? Like, I guess the person who speaks up first will get the choice. This one's a little desaturated, but that's a good starting point. And then, yeah, these two are pretty similar. I mean, Vallejo is good for getting quick work. Hey, Migback. The coldest one. Well, so it depends again then how we're going to evolve it. But yeah, all right. I was thinking about this one. So let's start with this one. And we've got another copy of this Inner Kingdoms bust. This version, well, I got heaps of these just lying around the house because when Will was here visiting, he left a bunch of them all just lying around. And so I've got a lot of them, but it's broken here. See, her collar is broken, but I actually think that's a good idea, because the angle that you're watching from, if you see on this shoulder over here, the collar gets in the way of seeing what I'm doing anyways, and I'm going to try and do all four places so that you can see some different volumes. All right, let's get some paint on the palette. Yeah, he didn't want to transport them back to England with him, so he left me a gift of them all hidden around the hobby room. I keep finding more of them all the time. He did a good job. It's quite funny, really. Find these partly painted versions all over the place. Thanks, Val. If I got that pronunciation correctly, I hope I did. So that was just the Phoenician Purple G-dubs. That's all we've got on the palette so far. This right here is Lamian Medium. I'll put a little bit of that out there. And I was thinking about this earlier. I tried some different options, starting with white, but I never use white, so I'm going to use this because this is what I use all the time for my my pale or my highlight setup these days. So we're going to go with verdigris. I used to use whatchamacallit, ice yellow, but I've switched to this one. I like it better. It's got better coverage than white. It really works so perfectly for the purpose that it is, and I love having that little bit of green in there at the moment. So that's what we're going with. So that's it. 2 colors on the palette. That's how we're going to start with things. And so a simple blend, we can do this, I think, fairly quickly, especially because we're starting with the G-dubs. It gets good coverage. And let's just make sure the camera is comfortably set up. There we go. Okay, right there. So we're just putting down a quick base coat layer here. Can be quite thick with the paint as long as you smooth it out and make sure it's not going to be a bit clumpy when it dries. Timbo loves his purple. And I'm probably going to need to use a bit of the hairdryer. I'll hold it over here so that I hope that's not deafening for you guys. So when you're putting down that first layer, you don't need to get perfect coverage of the whole surface that you're painting. This is really quite a desaturated purple paint. It's nice though. 2 layers, and focus seems to be having a bit of a jump around today. All right. No one wants to listen to that, but I think we might be done with the hairdryer for now. So when I know where I'm going, and basically in this case I do know where I'm going, and it's a very simple blend to do, just 2 colors like this. What I'll do usually is pick the position where we're going to place the highlights. And this model is fairly universally easy to read where to do it, though I think this shoulder, if you look at it, can you see the highlight that's lighting up there while the light is shining on it, this whole zone? I think that's actually the wrong choice. So, and then this is obviously a sphere, and these are two cylinders, but they're quite flat cylinders anyway. Let's paint in our highlights. You don't need to be too clean with this, but try to be precise about where you put them. So we're going up higher on this one. This one will be similar, but coming a little bit forward. Hey, Toby. See how good this Verdigris is for just laying down color? It's awesome. Ed, g'day. So everyone who's watching, I really hope you've tried this method of blending before. Like if you've not been doing this big jump to start your way, you're missing out. And we go a little bit bigger than we think we might need to for the first layer. The highlight may not end up being quite this big. All right. Now, that G-Dubs paint is too dark to go straight over this one again, this one here. So I'm going to mix a little bit of the two, get us about halfway between. I might put some just regular water on the palette as well. Okay, so the next step for your nice simple blend is basically just paint over our highlight with the mid-tone color and overlap the edges a little bit. So basically the whole area we just highlighted and then a little bit. Yes, so this is Lahmian medium up here in the top right corner of the palette. That's the medium that I use. I think it's the best for this kind of work, for especially when you want smooth glaze, or not glaze, smooth blends with a little bit of glazing involved. So straight over the top, a little bit out of line. Thanks for the subscription, Jimmy D. Much appreciated. I think that's an amazing thing. I don't know much about Twitch yet, but thank you. And so next layer around, we're going to just focus on this tone around the edges of it, leaving the light in the middle. So just softening the edges with a kind of a stippling motion is fine. Hi, Georgia. Thanks for tuning in with your dad. All right, so at this point, you're probably looking at it thinking, wow, that looks like a mess. And that's where you have to learn to follow the process, because it actually can change really quickly, and it looks bad up until it doesn't. So we want to mix another one that's a little bit brighter up the scale. Then our last one. And as I was practicing this earlier, I came to the realization that blending this way, you can get some results, pretty good results very quickly. But the easy path going these, very simple color, just two colors blending together like this is part of the reason why it can be done fast. But it's all about how you build up the foundation for making the blend work. You'll notice that as I place this layer, we focus on the middle of the area we placed earlier. It will already start to look, when that dries up, it will start to look like it's much more closer to completed, because you'll lose that overlaid dark area. Let's have a look now. Still a bit wet. I'll just give it a blow dry. Still a little bit wet in a couple of places, but look at that already, just that one extra layer, and we're almost looking like we've got a smoothish blend there. So what I'm going to do now is use that same upper layer color, but I'm going to thin it down so that it's about not quite full-on glaze consistency, but we're getting thinner than we have so far. So I'd say that's, I don't know how to define it. I can just feel it feels right to me. And so the important thing to note here when you've got this thin paint is to pull the paint in towards the highlight. So you're starting dark, light, this way. And starting from outside and pulling in. If the paint on there is darker, then we go the other way around. A little bit out of bounds there, just want to wipe it off. So dragging from dark to light. Boom. And when there's areas that are looking a little bit messy, we can just stipple, and uneven, I mean not messy, we could just stipple the paint in. So see here, there's a bit uneven. We'll just put some dots on of this thinner tone. As that dries, it will look much smoother, because this is where the finesse comes in for you as a painter. It's finding your way to understanding where and when to put the color down to create the kind of blend that you really want. I'm going to jump again to our most bright tone in a moment, the verdigris. See the blend starting to come together already. So now we do a bigger jump, but we want to thin it down again. And this is partly why the verdigris is so good, because it does this step really well. All right. So we're aiming to pull the paint from the outer sides in and get it to pull up in the center. Hope you can see that is what I'm doing. And we'll stipple our way in. Okay. Thanks for following, Kev. All right, so that has done another job on what we've been creating so far. So now we want to go back to the thinner upper level purple that we had already. And basically just the same thing, paint over the top of it all again. Thanks, Kev. I'm glad you find it valuable. So we've been working our way up all this time. The next step will be to go back down again and start to cut into the edges of everything with the darker tones. Alright, I'm just going to give it another quick blow dry. Okay. Oh, thanks, Seamus. Awesome. Don't want the full-on shadow tone. Hello, hello, welcome. White and Inferno. So this is our lower mid-tone here. This is our shadow. This is our mid-tone, upper mid-tone, and highlight. And so this time, we're going darker. So we're pulling from light to dark this time. Only covering out the edges a bit. Yeah, I won't be using smoke today, sorry Seamus. Doesn't go in with purple, although probably find a way to use it if we wanted to. We're pulling from light to dark here. And just overlapping a little bit. Hi Nia Waifu. So we're overlapping the base tone that we set up right at the start a little bit here, but that's okay. See, around this zone, it looks a little bit ugly, but we're going to use the base coat color. Oops. If you make a mistake like that, you can just grab another brush and just soften it a little bit. Thanks for letting me know. I've got a reply to your message. I haven't had time to do it yet. I was setting up. Thanks for attending. This should be very useful for you. So now we'll just go back straight down to our shadow color again. This time we're focusing right around the edges. So this was the color that we had as our base coat. So it's our establishing color, and we can really set those edges in. I'll just spread this a little bit out here. And so it's important that you make sure you try to be consistent about where you put the color down, because all of these steps play an important role into the way that the final blend looks, because the faster you can get where you're going, the smoother it will look. That's a bit of a nasty looking line, so we'll soften that with another brush. Oh, it's okay, I'm recording and I'll put it onto YouTube again as well. It'll be going on YouTube in 1440p after, but it will also be available on Twitch as a VOD. All right, now it's basically we've got the colors in the position that we want to establish them as. I'm going to try and just move it a little bit closer, I think, get a bit more comfortable. Yeah, that's better. Benny, I'm going to use this one again. This part starts to come from experience and feel. Hey Bun, thanks for tuning in. I think we will paint over the whole thing. Let's see how that looks when it dries. Trying my best to provide something useful this time. I don't add matte medium to Lamine medium. I don't find it goes glossy for me unless it's not mixed or shaken properly. So it may have been a case of it not being shaken up, but yeah, sometimes it can do that when it's been on the palette, and I don't know. There can be times when that does happen. I have had it happen, but it's usually because it's just not been mixed. Or it might be a really old bottle or something. I want to be properly useful this time, I don't know. That's the way I critique myself, I guess. Heal up as fast as you can, Bun. I hope you'll be able to make it to guilds. So we're going up to our upper mid-tone again now, and I think I'll go with the thinner version, so let's remake some of that. I'm going to stipple, and this is much more of a glaze consistency, but oh, that's a bummer. Yeah, wheelchairs and Benny can carry. Or we'll give JC a backpack and you can just sit in it like a baby carrier. Yeah, while you carry Bun. This is quite a nice purple, I must admit. It's starting to look really nice. I'll have to try and use this for something, but probably would never use it in this particular way. I can see that it is going a little bit satiny. I wonder if the G-Dubs paints what does that, because I don't use them that often. I do like a bit of a satin finish to my work though, but don't like the full-on gloss. Interesting. We're getting close to a pretty good blend here. Jump back down here, going much more of a thin consistency now, because it's all just refining from here. And so I won't refine heaps. It is this one, Phoenician Purple. And remember, we're using a darker tone here, so we're pulling from middle out. Light to dark. And right now I'm shaping the shape of the gradient to how I like or want for these shapes. So this is a part that comes at this stage. You really want to set where you want your mid-tone zone is. More or less, yes. So start with dark, big jump, and so you start making big jumps and then slowly refine to the center is how I think of it. Okay, I think we're getting fairly well established. And that's moved very, very quickly. Like, this is a lot of work to have gotten this to this level in this amount of time. Genuinely, like, that's fast. Don't you think half an hour to get a blend this far along? but it is simple. It's Lahmian medium at the moment, thinning with Lahmian medium. I find it to be sort of magic juice for these kind of blends. Just going to put some... What's the humble brag? What did I say? Because I said it's simple. Simple does not mean easy. Or do you mean the time frame? It can be done that way, yes. So this is a simple way to get there, and then I'll show you how we add more color a little bit later on. But you can do it by just doing the same process with more diversity to the colors along the way. So the medium is a mixture of water and Lahmian medium. So it's 30% Lahmian medium, which is this one over here. I don't thin heaps. Like, you can see them up here. They've barely been. I mean, this came out of the pot just directly like that. I've touched this once like that each time I make something new to add to it, but that's barely anything to thin it at all. It comes down to the amount that you have on the brush, I think, and where you put it. Let's go another near darker layer, just one more of these, I think, and then we'll start to change the color a little bit. Remember pulling from light to dark, to the dark. Yes, yep, 30-70. Lahmian to water. I don't feel like it needs to be straight or neat. But it's more effective if it is. So if you really want to get a really smooth blend, you can get it out of the pot and just use it straight. But you can, of course, do this with water and no Lahmian. It will do the same thing. It's just easier this way. Yeah. Magic juice. All right. I mean, they're looking pretty decent. It is going a bit more glossy than I would prefer. So, do I have any here? Doesn't look like I do. It's over on my airbrush desk, so we're not getting it. All right, so now it's time to shift it up a little bit. And if you look at the one from earlier, it's already quite dramatically different. This one's quite desaturated and cold purple. Now, which way are we going to do this? So we're here, and we've got two directions we can go. So we can take the shadows towards the reds, or the shadows towards the blue, and I'm going to let the chat decide which way we go. So if we go shadows towards the red, then we'll go highlights toward the blue. If we go shadows towards the blue, we'll go highlights towards the red. What do you say? What do you want to do? Probably the first person who picks will be the one who gets to pick. So we go blue shadows or red shadows? Red shadows. All right, now. Dark violet, scale artist dark violet. Let's put that one out first. That's going to be our new anchoring shadow color. I wondered, do I want? Yeah, I do. I do want. So then we'll get the P3 beaten purple. That's going to be our lower mid-tone. We probably won't be touching on the Phoenician purple anymore. This is just our foundation. Now we'll go the pastel violet. This is going to be our part of our upper zone because this has got that more colder tone to it. And then, I think maybe we'll use, no, this isn't cold enough. Nope. So, yeah, this one. This is going to be very similar to the pastel violet from the Scale Artist, but a bit more blue, and then we'll jump to I think I'm probably just going to mix this myself, so we're going to put some turquoise. Howdy, Alexi. Which one? Which one was a great name for a purple? Beaten purple. Okay, so this is partly where the magic comes in, because just make sure it's looking a bit nasty, but we've got that dark violet. I probably need something with more red as well, so I can really demonstrate. Let's get some Scale Artist Crimson ink. May not end up using this, but this may just be a tint for the very deepest shadows, because we can just paint this over the dark areas and it's just quite transparent. No, so this is where the complexity comes into making the colors look more interesting. It will still look purple in the end, but by running outside of the same range, we get a lot more depth of color and it will look much better. So this is our Scale Artist. This is a fairly glazy consistency for it, but it's not that glazy. Like, look at how painty that is on the palette section. I mean, it's still not super thin. Now we're painting over the shadow section, and we're pulling from light to dark again. So just whop whop. And that dark violet is already quite a bit red. Paint is probably a little bit, a little bit too much paint on the brush here, so we'll just wipe a bit more off. And that's better. May have been a victim of my own thingy by I didn't want to make the noise of the Vortex mixer, and I didn't mix the Lahmian medium when I put it out, so it's going glossy. You don't need to do the easy one as a base. This is just the easy way to change it or add more to it if you want to, but you can just start from dark violet. That's the way I usually paint. I do the complexity from the beginning. It comes down to choosing how to fit your scene as well, like the ambience, depending on if you've got a warm ambience, you choose to go the warm direction. So that means, we've got a warm ambience for this piece now because we've chosen to go the red direction, and that means we've got cold highlights. Or in this case, I'm going to be going for cold highlights, but you can also do this same thing where you go warmer in the shadows and then warmer in the highlights, and then the middle part is the cooler part, which is the violet. So it's sort of like it swerves into purple and out of purple again. I'll do that I'll actually do some different colors in this just to show you how that will look. So now let's just get some pure crimson ink. We'll do the same thing again, pulling out into the shadows. Doesn't change it a whole heap, but already we can see a depth of tonal difference, and it looks more interesting. It's not changing the foundation of the color that's presented, because the areas of the mid-tone are what defines the color for us. You can see I'm putting quite a bit of red into that. Doesn't change all that much. Okay, so maybe I'll do this side, these ones. I'll do these ones with the warmer highlights, and these ones with the cooler highlights. So we can see how that'll end up looking. This value is too high. Not high enough. So the cooler highlights, this is what I intended to show for this case. I don't usually make as much paint as that when I'm mixing. I try to be a bit more careful, but I'm just going fast because I'm on camera. And now we're pulling into the middle again. Value jump is quite large, probably larger than I expected, but it's all right. Outside in. Thanks for the follow, Virtual Tones. Yeah, it's really good. Alright, so that's a bit dark. We'll just go straight back to this AK. It might have actually been the perfect spot. I have tried many other mediums. I've got bottles of them over there. You can sort of maybe see some of them that I haven't ended up using because I didn't like them. Many different brands: Vallejo Glaze, Vallejo Matte, Liquitex, Winsor and Newton, different stuff from G-Dubs. Always come back to the love of Lamian. Unfortunately, it comes in those only tiny containers, but that's why I water it down. So now we're just sticking around the edges of those highlights that we did to smooth out the cold to warm transition. Sort of going from light to dark and dark to light. So in this case, it's sort of in that middle range. So if you see where I'm pulling the paint to, it's in this zone between the two. I could just paint over the whole highlight area, but I don't want to lose it anymore. It's just going to make more work for myself if I do that, but sometimes I will do that. The AK 3rd Gen, nice and matte, giving us back some of our matte. Okay, so we're almost smoothed out with the change involved, and once you've got your values in place and your blend gradient, it doesn't really take that much work to change a color that much, and already the interest in this color is to my eye, what I can see is much better. Like having the red in the shadows, it looks much more interesting. You can go as far as almost taking those highlights into green as well. I might just try that. See what happens. Sorry. This is yes, yep. Well, I mean, I sort of paint the same style for everything. The way that you get NMM look is just the blend gradient. What I think of as a blend gradient. So you condense your blend into a smaller space. Go screen, and that's how you get the NMM look. That's how I do it. So let's see what happens when we put green into the highlight. We go all the way. This will look really cool. And again, this is just in those upper highlights, so you're not going to really notice it all that much, but there will be much more visible contrast to the eye. going to make the highlight pop. Oops. So that's quite a green tone. It's almost a yellowy green that I would say that we've used there, but you know, you can't see it really. It just makes the contrast of the blend look better. So we'll just go somewhere in between our previous highlight now that we've got the ghost green in there, and just soften the edges of that green zone because the transition is a little harsh at the moment. Focusing all of our paint in the ring around it now. You can see where the complexity starts to make the time add up though, right? Because we had a real decent blend in there, almost completed within half an hour. And then the next half an hour we've spent changing the tonality a bit to make it pop more, but it doesn't look all that much different. But it's important. Let's go even further with the red. Let's just pull it on there thick, see what happens. I'll start up here. I'm just going to feather the edge of that with another brush. That's your 2-brush blending. So the way the red helps make it pop more. And we can choose like where we want the blend gradient to be, and so we might choose to expand the lower mid-tone. So this is going to be the P3 beaten purple. So we're focusing on that ring around the outside of the cold zone. Need to mix a bit. It's too dark in value. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, it really does look nice. I was thinking to myself when I was practicing earlier, the damn value contrast can look really great. Oh, what happened? I would probably choose gold for the headpiece, yeah. So this one already has some painted in. That was painted by Will and me. I did the purple, he did the face and the gold. So we need to soften the edges of those back down a bit now. You can see some of the zone where it's gone a bit too far. Thanks for the follow. Didn't see the name, sorry. I caught it only on the tail end of when it was up on screen. And so let's use the Scale Artist Pastel Violet. I love this paint for this purpose, just to unify the transition from cold to warm. Yes, so this is something that is very, very hard to explain to someone. Like, the amount of paint on the brush is an experience thing. So I have trouble explaining just what or how to use, because I can just put the brush to the model like I did just there for a moment, and it doesn't feel right. So I'll go and just let off a little bit more. And I don't use paper towel, I use microfiber towels. And it usually requires just one touch of the paintbrush from the palette to the towel, and it's very absorbing, so it just takes off just the right amount of paint. Oh, the Scale Artist paints are so good for this phase. Just unify and blend. Let's see what happens if I just use it to paint over the whole lot here. Thanks, Buddha. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate you coming along. Yes, generally they are, but I like a little bit of satin. I don't know, I pick my paints based on where I want the satin. It generally ends up coming out where I want it to. If it goes gloss, I'll just varnish it and then manually modify it later. But that I can just paint this over the whole lot and it just unifies the whole thing. Alright, so we'll go over to this side, and now we're going to try and do a bit of a warm highlight. So let's grab this one, Scale Artist Pastel Pink. I love the Scale Artist pastel colors. They're just awesome. So what you want to watch for with this is where I place the pink within this zone, because we want to keep basically this area the sort of original tone, the Phoenician purple, and then if you think about it, you're going from dark here to here for the midtones, and then light back to here. So you're still blending next to each other. I don't find them too powdery personally. I personally really just like them a lot. That pastel pink is maybe a little bit too far, and I'm just going to grab a little bit of the ghost green. Desaturate that a little. And then focusing on the main highlight area. We'll raise the temperature. It's going to look really weird having a model with cold highlights and warm highlights. Bit of an interesting experiment though, I think. Interesting. Actually, never done this before in this particular way. So we're going darker at the moment into the midtones. We're pulling from light to dark again. always try to remember to watch where the brush is going when you're watching someone else paint, because you can learn a lot just by the direction and the way they move their brush. Whoop, come back. Don't know why that happens sometimes. It's random. Anyone paint anything interesting this weekend that they'd like to share? For sure. Really nice looking already. I could use this kind of difference from side to side as a way to set a cold and a warm half. It might actually be a really interesting look because it doesn't look too bad. Although the ambition outrunning our ability. The amount of big projects I've wanted to do that get stuck like that. Ugh. You can do it though. I know you can. I did see that you posted that. Good to see you getting paint on the brush again, Bun. Oh yeah, I imagine so. I look forward to seeing that. Did he say whether he's going to be bringing it to Guilds? Seamus? This is an interestingly tricky way to paint without having to plan and just bogging out. I'm glad to hear it. So I can continue it to refine, but I'm not sure whether I think that will be useful. Maybe we paint something else then. Would you like me to do a little bit of gold? Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Let's see what these look like framed. So let's go one color at a time. that's not a good starting point. Let's go with... Oh, this might be what Seamus was waiting for. The smoke might be coming out. Alas, I think we'll start with British khaki. And I will be putting some smoke on the palette. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, that happened. Oh, that really burst. Remind me to send you a message about that. No, or ask me on messages and I'll send you a photo of the set that I think is good. So we're going to start with a British khaki just for setting down the base tones. We probably have enough on the palette here now to work with for the paints that we're using. We probably need a yellow as well, so I might add that after I've done this part, but let's just lay down our base layer. Proper hoarding. Yeah, I have way too much that I'm never going to get through, but you know how it is with the smoke. Yeah, but I've probably got more. Probably shouldn't admit that. But I did get them so that I could, help people out in the future when there are none. I can be like a stockist. Yep. I haven't painted true metallics for years. Much prefer non-metallic for the control it gives. G'day, Illicit Owl. Thanks for tuning in. Thought I'd do a little bit of non-metallic gold just because I got through the purple quite quickly, which is a good thing. Probably going to need to put down this tragic brush for this final work though. hope everyone's learning a bit. Alright, so put this brush down. Which brush do we want? Let's try this one. I really love the crazy point on these avant-garde. So let's use the ghost green. Put in some highlights. In the same way we did for the purple, we're just going to jump right up. I got multiple copies, Ed. Will left me a bunch. Not necessarily from games. Different artists. Yep, this one is a Inu Kingdoms Niobe bust. Really, it's just a different type of bust for different purposes for what we like. I don't paint for gaming at all. It's all about just display. Oh, he was staying with me though. Ugh. The curse of the brand new brush hits. They're always a little bit tetchy until they get worn in. Rigel, sorry, yeah. I always get the names of busts and models wrong. I'm so bad with that. Thanks, Bun. I mean, I did come back to Warhammer because I liked Warhammer as a kid, but I discovered that it was just not about the game for me. It was always about the modelling, painting. And so with this bar here especially, we match it up to the curve of the highlight here. So this section will be our highlight. But we won't be doing the full paint over at that part when we get to our yellow. That's awesome, Alexi. Cool model. Very high elvish. Alright, so the yellow I'm going to put on the palette will be this one. The best pale yellow paint that I've found so far is this one. I love this. Love this stuff for yellow. I'm gonna put that brush away, I think. So for this one, we won't be painting over the whole section we painted, but just over the edges. Yeah, yep, probably should have thought of that. Which I hadn't done yet, but I've used the ghost green for the underlayer of the gold, but let's consider that and take these highlights onto the warmer side to match up with the purples properly. So I will end up painting over the whole of that. Okay. This is a sort of an easier blend to get into place quickly because it's more simple shapes. I mean, not simple shapes, smaller area, surface area, volume. So we'll just use the paints we've got in the palette, be enough for the warmer highlight. A bit more yellow. Too much. Yeah, it just goes on the edges, and it does give the gold oomph that you're looking for. There's our warmer highlight. Already that looks fairly non-metallic metally. We barely put any work into the rest of the structure of it. It's all just about those blend gradients. Pow. I can't remember if it was the same date last year. Time for some smoke. Watch this do its magic. Thanks for the Tic Tacs. Orange resin is the way though. There we have our little sample of gold. I think I'll just darken this little bit of the leaf, and then we'll touch the edge. No, not anymore. I don't really need references anymore, which is cool. Kind of didn't realize that had happened, but yeah, it's all just it's all in my head these days. Like, I just thought it would look good right now to have a double bounce reflection up here. So I'm gonna do this. Yeah, Ark's great. Always love seeing everyone's work there. It's about the time after Crimson when you need that little reminder of when you see all the models on the shelves and you're just like, whoa, damn, this is sick. I love minis. Always. So we'll just go over that with a bit of smoke edge. And you see in the same way that I blended earlier, I created that area that's got the brighter color underneath, and then you just soften it a little bit and bam. Oh, that was a mistake. I want to use this one, and right there. I mean, it doesn't look bad for, I guess, about 20 minutes of non-metallic metal. Just a bit more highlight in there. I don't know, unfortunately, about the Brisbane comp. I'm not sure if it's been cancelled for good. It'd be great if everyone could make it for Guilds or Crimson, but of course travelling can be hard. All right. Just need to expand that out a bit. So I think I'm almost done with painting. I've got a couple of models here to show on video again. don't know whether they've all been seen on video or not. Some of them have been on YouTube video, but I've just got them in hand for a small amount of time before they get sent off to their new home in Spain. Before I put the model down, has anyone got any questions? And then I'll grab those models in. I think that's come out pretty well. Some nice looking non-metallic. Hi, Austin. Texture, yes, but just as long as it's differentiated from the other materials, you want to make sure that you're just presenting it in a different way. So use a different type of texture. Hi, Crow. Sure, I'll go over the colors that I've used. There's only a few actually, which is pretty good for non-metallic gold considering I was painting purple. So the foundation of this is built with these 4 colors. So we've got Smoke, British Khaki AK, Sulphuric Yellow, and Ghost Green Vallejo. That gives it a pretty good range of tones for just the 4 paints, I think. And I did mix in some of the pastel pink to warm up those highlights a bit. Ooh. And so, yeah, I mean, they're not really that amazing to see. Most people are probably sick of seeing these by now. Not really. Smoke is the best for what it's intended for. Now this model is something where I really use the ideas that I was showing tonight, the sort of the warmer and colder highlights and shadows. So I think if you look at all the white sections, you've got brown down and blue up. Anything that's facing up or this way got blue. Anything facing down got brown, and so it gives the white some dynamism. Looks pretty cool. So you've got blues in all of these up areas and lots of little scratches in the white. It's a bit too blown out though. You can sort of see it on the off angle. And the face, I'm pretty happy with the face on this one, even though he's sort of looking down. And as I look at this now, it's still not bad. I had fun painting this. The texture's nice. Okay, so next one another Space Marine. It's got some blue text stuck on the bottom there. Sorry, that's my OCD just coming in. I can't leave it. It depends on the day, but try to do 4 to a lot more than that sometimes if I can get it in. But yeah, I like to do 4. This one's got more of your regular tone Dark Angel here. I'm just going to blow the dust off. Oh, didn't do a very good job. He'll need to clean before he goes off anyway. And then he's got the... Yep. Barrel drilled. So desaturated sort of flame and fire tones from this side. Very dark back. Like, I look at this now and this is just like, whoa, that's way not painted enough. Pick up the dust with the old blue tack pen. It's really, not even the edge highlights are done. Phew. Makes me almost want to go back in. I'm quite proud of the work on the sword on this one. It's really high res. Maybe. The name doesn't ring a bell, but I'm really bad with names. I recognize the work more so. Yeah, so Dark Angel. And then Night Lord. This one's using the same philosophy as it's got the red in the shadows. It's a controlled airbrush look. That's the stippling and very small brush strokes where they come in. Shoo, as I look back on these, I see a lot of things I could do differently or better now. It's really interesting. Can't seem to help myself from picking it up. And the face is pretty good on this one too. Is it gonna get in focus or yeah? Sisters of Battle. Unfortunately not painted ones. I don't have much else within reach. I do have a Sister of Battle that's not painted in reach, but it's just grey plastic. So that's that one. And so there we have the warmer one that I did earlier. Favorite Space Marine faction. Probably Iron Warriors. Nah, that's not right. It depends on Loyalist, and the problem that I have with this is that I like them all like heaps. I like them all. That's why I had to paint all the Traitor Legions as Loyalists. I can show something. This is a test print that didn't really go well of a servo arm that I sculpted. Oh, and I received the final prints of the bus model for the class. I mean, it turned out pretty dang good. Pretty happy with this. It's going to do a great job for the class. Just needs a little bit of cleaning under here for now, but yeah. I'll put them together and get a version painted up, but it's really come out nice. It's going to serve our purposes really well. This is one of the bases that I'm working on, but it's just a prototype. That should be pretty cool. I'll show you the... That's the general idea for the layout. I wanted to have the Minotaur ready to show on this stream, but I tried, but I couldn't get it done, so it's gonna have to wait for another time, and that's all I've got in front of me in easy reach at the moment. But I can't. No, I paint in sub-assemblies, not glued. I pin everything with long pins and then blue tack it together. He's not going to be champion. Probably number 2. But yeah, we're a little bit 10 minutes early on the 2-hour point of the stream. Yeah, let's pray, but I doubt it. Anything anyone want to ask me question-wise? We'll start one down, and I'm probably going to end up doing a raid to make sure I close out properly. I hope everyone got a good bit of understanding about using colour in interesting ways. And so it's always good to just look at what's next, and instead of being linear by staying within one colour, use the colours that are next to it when you're blending. Wow, thanks. I don't know what it means to convert from a Prime sub to a Tier 1 sub, but that's awesome. Thanks, Compulsion. Hey, Sum4, you might have come a little bit. Thank you very much Much appreciated. I'm so new to Twitch. I don't use it at all really, so I don't know. Thank you. Much appreciated. And I think I'm just going to start closing down. Yeah, I think I covered some good things in there, so it probably might be worth going for the VOD. At least I hope so. Yeah, I like this sort of stuff, all the cards and everything covering the walls is pretty cool. Oh, yeah. And I'll be uploading in 1440p on YouTube, and the VOD will be available right afterwards on Twitch as well. I am looking forward to the workshop at Guilds. I think it will be a great workshop. I'm preparing for it. Well, I'll hopefully get the 4 different versions of the bust that I intend to paint ready for it. Thanks for everyone for attending, and I look forward to seeing everyone's more advanced colour use after this. It won't be next Sunday, Ed. I'll let you know on Instagram again when I'll be back. I don't know exactly what kind of schedule I'm looking at doing for this all just yet. Bloody time of year is messing with me. I had another migraine again yesterday, so I almost brought myself to cancel this, but I decided to just go ahead. Yeah, thanks, Ed. I appreciate it, really do. See you later, everyone. Thanks for watching. Ciao.